My name is Sophia Porter, and this is You Got, Sophia's Game of Thrones podcast. It's time now to discuss the devastating episode titled The Dance of Dragons, which was the penultimate in Season 5. And when I say devastating, I mean that talking about this episode might actually break me. You all watched it, you all know what happened. I'm a mess. There's no denying that, and the guest I've asked on today is probably as well, but let me introduce her before I'm making any rash accusations. Carly, I know you were on last week, but because it's my podcast, and I had so much fun recording our episode, I wanted to bring some light into the darkness. So, hi, and welcome back to the rodeo.
Hi, I'm your light in the darkness.
You are my light in the darkness. That's you. I'm literally so glad you're here.
I'm so glad that you
nothing can shake me out of the misery that I'm feeling, except for maybe you and this glass. These 2 bottles of wine that we have.
Yes. They are not long for this world.
They're really not. Because you know what? That's what happens when we talk about heartbreak.
Yeah. And they're both Game of Thrones themed.
They are. I mean, I don't know how mine is exactly.
Yours is like the tree, the red tree.
Okay, yeah. I could see it. I could see it. The wirewood. Weirwood.
Yeah.
Yeah, nailed it. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about tonight, especially because I didn't record an episode about Hardhome, although I did write a quick article, so if you listeners are interested in reading my thoughts, head on over to tvbinges.com. Spoiler alert, I thought Hardhome was 100% the best episode of this season, and I was so excited for this Sunday that I was, jumping up and down for this episode. I was just like, oh my god. Unfortunately, the excitement wore off quite quickly. Before we get into the meat of the Dance of Dragons, though, Carly, I gotta ask, what was your opinion of this episode as a whole? Because I know you and I texted a bit during the episode. We were very much it's not gonna happen. We're not, bad crap's not gonna go down. Little did we know, it's the penultimate episode. Obviously, bad crap is gonna go down. So, what did you think?
With this episode, I didn't feel like I was ever watching an episode of Game of Thrones. And for me, a lot of that was because, first of all, we, again, focused on the Sand Snake plotline, which, in my opinion, I mean, if it hadn't hit a wall already, this was the giant brick, the giant wall that it just hit, and it was wow, that had no purpose. It just
why are we here?
Why are we here? And
why are we wasting our time with this?
It was such a waste of time, and then there was the whole thing where it was under one condition, and he just punches him in the face, and I was like, is this a sitcom?
Right, okay, that's definitely CW.
CW.
Tristan is a child, and he wanted Bronn to be punched in the face.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Cue laugh track, that's all we needed in that scene.
Hey, friends.
Hey, friends.
Welcome to New York!
Just, have it be playing out in, the middle of the fighting pits, and, the audience laughs. Make it all poppy, and, so fun and nice and light, aka, no it's not, ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't feel like a Game of Thrones episode, and I think the other part of that was because, with the subject matter we're going to be talking about when we dive into the darkness, imminently. I know, I was like, nobody is. But I feel like this whole thing was going for that shock value rather than actual rich storytelling and a need to drive the plot forward.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You know that.
Oh, thank you.
Because I totally agree. This is the first time in Game of Thrones history that I feel like the writers have actually failed on every single level. And I know that may seem brash, but I'm going to explain myself throughout this episode of the podcast. Last week I talked about there being a fine line between deviation and lazy writing. And I had hopes that a weak link in the chain wasn't going to be this season's downfall. But alas, I mean, here we are less than a week away from the finale. And I, among many other people, you included, am feeling lower than ever before. How on earth can this show come back from the devastation that was wrought in this episode? I mean, it's not just devastation, it's disappointment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's also a really bitter pill. It's a hard pill to swallow.
Completely.
And I'm very unsure of what's going to happen in the finale. I have no idea, and that sort of terrifies me to no end. Okay, but let's get into it. So we started off in the night with Stannis' army being almost destroyed by Ramsay and 20 of his men, to which the Manus replies, torture the men who are on duty and then hang them. And if that didn't give you an inkling as to where this episode was going, I'm truly sorry. Seriously, Stannis, are you serious?
It's not a great way to start.
Are you freaking serious? Like, killing loyal men?
Yeah.
Like, they could have been loyal. They might have just been sleeping on the job. But no, Stannis is like, kill them.
It's a morale thing.
It's like, oh my god. The writing was on the wall, and Stannis' 180 turn was already starting. Like, he was already sort of just like, what? Oh, I've made it 30 degrees. We're almost there. And sure, Melisandre sees the attack happening like 2 minutes beforehand, but what use is that? There's literally no point. She sees it, or she feels something.
Yeah.
She, like, walks out of the tent, and then bam.
I feel like there's something bad happening. You know how this could have been prevented. And it's like, all right, like, you know what? I don't know. I was kind of almost starting to like her this season.
I know. I was like, oh, they're turning her into a really interesting villain.
Yeah.
And I like that. Like, cool. We need cool villains. Like, we don't just want villains that we completely hate.
Totally.
Like, I want villains I'm interested in. And for me, that's what she was becoming.
Definitely, and like that's this is why the episode makes me so mad. Is because it takes the whole like Stannis is so great thing, and Melisandre's maybe kind of cool, and like let's be on her side a little bit, and it just crushed it, and it was just like, hey, just kidding, like all that good potential we built up, we're gonna
bye-bye
throw it away in the garbage and burn it.
It's awful. So yeah, Stannis' army takes a few hits, and they're left to ponder what to do. And that's all I'm going to say for Stannis right now, because like honestly, I have so many feelings about that I've had to hardcore compartmentalize them. And instead of laying it all out in the beginning, I'd rather do it at the end of the overview, because it's important to me that you all as listeners know exactly where I stand on House Baratheon, and I can't properly do it until I've gotten through the rest of the episode.
Do you, girl?
I'm gonna do me.
Do it.
I'm gonna
do what you gotta do.
Do it up. Take a drink. So next up, we travel to just outside the wall, where Jormund
brought it back.
Brought it back. And the wildlings are awaiting Alistair Thorne's decision to let them in or not. And I wasn't really worried, because I was like, hey, guess who's in charge? It's not you. It's Jon.
Yeah.
Jon is standing there. So if Alistair didn't let him in, they would have just gotten one to do the thing that happened last season and lift up the gates and have them all pile in, and then there would have been a big war.
Well, that's another thing that the episode did, where it was going for like shock value and stuff. It's like, oh, let's create this tense scene, and it's like, no, like they're gonna be let in,
right? Obviously, and then Alistair's like, I don't even remember what he said. He was just like, you made a mistake.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, this is going to come back and...
all killed.
Yeah, he's like, come back and bite us in the ass. I'm like, shut up.
Old man.
Like, yeah, we know it. We know what's going to happen. Like, obviously, all the looks from the brothers, like, we know something bad's happening.
Yeah.
But after crossing under the wall, Jon remarks to Sam that his going to Hardhome was a failure. But Sam essentially is the bringer of light, and tells him, instead of R'hllor... Sam is, and tells Jon that he saved people, and that's what matters. Like, he goes, like, as they're piling in, he goes, you didn't fail her, you didn't fail him, you didn't fail him, all of these people are alive because of you. If you hadn't been there, they all would have died.
Exactly, which is why he needs to be a maester, because he'd be amazing at just...
I'm glad you're really feeling that.
You got me
totally
so
agree.
into that.
I totally agree. Sam is an angel. Honestly, at this point, like, that's really how I feel. Like, he's just an angel. Like, oh my god, he's just come, and I really do think that he's come into his own this season.
Yeah.
Much like Jon.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people didn't, like, they like him because he's hot. But, like, I don't really care. Like, it's finally nice to see characters that we've known for 5 years. That's a crazy thought, by the way. 5 years. Finally becoming fleshed out and interesting. Like, the Wall and the Night's Watch has always been a cool place for me, although much of that had to do with Commander Mormont, and Maester Aemon and Corran Halfhand. Like, those, like, badass guys, and Gren and Pip, I loved them. And of course, the Wildlings. I always thought the Wildlings are so cool, and to, like, learn about them was always awesome. And we did that through the Night's Watch and through Jon. But now it really seems like Jon and Sam are the heroes of their respective stories.
Yeah.
Like, now.
Totally, yeah. And I mean, Sam, just by himself, like, is an angel and a freaking miracle, because he is still alive.
I would never have put my eggs in his basket. Been like, oh, the funny fat guy. He's gonna die. They always die.
They always die. I mean, like, they set him up as this character to be like, oh, like, guess who's gonna die first? And
but he defied every odd.
Every single odd. Like, oh my god. And he got laid this season. Like,
drink for Sam, honestly. Like, drink to Sam.
Oh,
congratulations, Sam. Yeah. That was good. I hope you guys drink to Sam, too. So at this point, like, we really need someone to root for in Westeros. Like, Dany's over there, Tyrion's over there, Stannis is, well, obviously we don't support him anymore. I mean, I'm going to get into that, but we're not going to talk about it because it hurts me too much. And at this point, I mean, I know that this feeling of hope is probably going to be short-shrifted, but how do you feel about Jon as a whole this season? And Sam. I mean, we've talked about Sam a lot. So, how about, let's just keep it on Jon. Because, I'm totally worried the bad shit is about to go down.
Yeah.
But at least he's back at the wall, and, Sam has allies, and they can band together. But I'm still terrified.
Yeah. No, I mean, oh my God. It's been interesting to see Jon in the leadership position. Because he's always been somebody that we've kind of, Ned's bastard, supposedly, and we've kind of just accepted him as, oh no, he would be a great leader. Yeah. And we haven't actually gotten to see that.
Right. And so, it's all circumstantial.
Yes. Yeah. Totally. And I mean, in a way, I thought it was fascinating to see what happened to him at the Battle of, I'm going to say it wrong, Hardhome?
Hardhome?
Yep, that one.
You're like, Hardhome. You cover up your mouth with your glass.
One.
It's the one where the amazing scene,
ice zombies and...
That was the coolest freaking scene. Big ups to, Carsey, the badass chieftain wildling.
Oh my God.
Chieftainess.
She
was so cool.
She was so cool. I had the biggest girl crush on her.
Same. And did you know that she is the German girl from Pitch Perfect?
Stop.
That is her. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that is her. Which Blair actually told... No, Devin. No, Blair. One of them told me that Carsey, the wildling, is actually the German chick from Pitch Perfect 2. So, in case you didn't know that, you guys.
Fun fact.
You're welcome. Fun fact of the evening. But seriously, she was so cool. I'm so bummed she died.
I know. Yeah, and that was such a bummer because I was
Harsh death.
Harsh death, and I thought she was gonna be the one who united.
I was love interest.
Hell yeah! Oh, that would've been so good. Think about that, man.
Pour one out for Carsey.
Pour one out for
Carsey. Mm-hmm.
Doing it.
Okay. Anyway, sorry, we got sidetracked.
It
happens.
Yes. No, but I think it has been such an interesting season for seeing these characters who we could easily see as they're going to be a great leader. We know that it's going to come down to these people, and that's going to be who it's going to be up against in the end. But I like that they're all kind of struggling. Dany went through her own struggle with the whole. Oh my God! When she executed the one person and all that. Yes, you know what I'm talking about.
Misa, and then they all hiss.
Yes,
yeah, that one.
That terrifying hiss. Oh my God! It was
so freaking. I was ooh, you fucked up. You fucked up.
But yeah, so I think it's been interesting. It's been interesting to see Jon not so easily fall into that leadership role. And I mean, to be fair to him, it was a pretty big thing to happen, right when he starts to be leader. I mean, basically his first act is to execute someone Ned style.
Yeah.
And then it's oh, hey, now you have to go fight
to
Hardhome undead.
And go fight the Night's King. Have fun with that.
Good luck.
And fight one of his amazing ranger guys, which was so cool.
Oh.
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't get to talk about Hardhome, so it's all coming out.
It's all happening.
It's all happening. Okay, anyway. Okay, yes. So I agree. I think it's really nice to finally see Jon actually step up to the plate and prove that he has the leadership qualities. That's what's really important. I just really hope it doesn't all come back to bite him in the ass.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we move over to the train wreck that is Dorne.
Haha.
I really cannot reiterate enough how badly they screwed this up.
Yeah.
Well, I said earlier in this episode that this was the first time Game of Thrones has actually failed on a writing standpoint. There's no denying the just slow nosedive that came with the introduction of Dorne and then the expansion of Dorne.
Yeah.
And I've said multiple times that I was excited to see what they had in store, but at this point it feels like the only reason the plots in Dorne exist is to fill time.
That's exactly how it feels. Oh my God. Because, there should just be, a tag that's, meanwhile in Dorne.
Right.
And,
meanwhile, here's Jaime having a ridiculous plot that has nothing to do with him, really.
Check out the adventures of Jaime Lannister.
Hey, and his sellsword brawn.
Exactly.
It's the spinoff no one wanted.
Literally nobody. And it's actually, I was talking to a coworker today, and it was so funny because he brought up, we were talking about Dorne, and he was like, I want to see more of Dorne. And I was like, I want to see no more of Dorne.
Never again.
But then he brought up the point, he was like, well, I want to see more of Dorne because right now it just looks like there's 6 people who live there.
And, and we've been in one place.
One place. And it's kind of plot twist, it's only the Sand Snakes, Lana, now Jamie, and like the three other
Duran
people.
and Ario and Alaria. Yeah, that's it. That's all the only people that live in Dorne.
You're like, no, there's more here. Don't go looking for them.
Shoot, we lost Oberyn. Done.
Oh,
That's the only time I'll ever joke about Oberyn stuff. Like, just in case you were
there's
wondering.
only 6.
Like, it's absurd that what should have been a convoluted storyline was resolved in less than 10 minutes.
Literally.
Like, think about it. Jamie gets Bronn out of jail on one condition. And we talked about this earlier, that Areo Hota punches him in the face just as Bronn did to Trystane.
Yeah,
and Jamie... Yeah, it's so stupid. And Jamie, Marcella, and Bronn will return to King's Landing with Trystane in tow, and he will now fill Oberyn's seat on the small council. And then this same 10 minutes, Alaria Sand's vendetta is ended by Doran, who chooses to ally with the Lannisters instead of starting an all-out war.
Yeah.
And you could tell it was, like, really intense for her to, like, kiss his ring and, like, swear fealty. And I was like, I don't care.
Who cares? Literally nobody cares. Like, it was like...
Great acting on her part. Beautiful acting. Like crying while kissing the ring. That was so well done. Like, on her. I just feel bad.
It's a great resume builder for the actress. That's about it. Like, I want to say that, like, somebody in her family was on the cast and they were like, guys, we really need her to build her resume right now.
Yeah.
Like, just, like, add in, like, a couple more scenes. But, like, if you literally look at the scenes that were in Dorne, there's probably... I mean, the whole plotline is probably solved in, like, 3 scenes max. It just,
you don't need anything with the Sand Snakes.
Nothing.
All you need is to see the scene between Doran and Jamie. And Jamie and Jamie showing up. Like, you don't need to see anything else. It's all extra, and it all does not matter. Like, I feel so bad for the actors.
Yeah.
And how much money they spent going to the, I don't know where, I think Seville is where they filmed it.
They got a vacation.
Yeah, congratulations. Oh, now I'm just so sad. Like, it's heartbreaking because Dorne is supposed to be this super cool place. Like, it's beyond. It's the first time we've really stepped outside, you know, of where, like, King's Landing. And we get to see Dorne, and it's so cool. And, like, they mutilated it.
It's just, like, bad accents and 6 people who live there.
So even, like, we're talking about the Sand Snakes, which thank God hopefully we never have to see them again.
No.
Because as it seems, they serve absolutely zero purpose. Because if they're planning to show them in the finale, and, like, obviously I said, I hope they don't.
Yeah.
My guess is they're just going to be playing with each other again, and that's a sexual innuendo, but I mean it.
Yeah,
like, ooh, what was that slappy game? Like, oh, congratulations, you can hit one harder than the other can.
Yeah, now kiss.
Yeah, right?
It was weird, and the best part of that plot line is that it's over.
I know!
Like, if they return there in the last episode, I'm saying, like, nope.
Waste of time. Waste of time. No, Tyenne's need or desire to be the most beautiful woman in the world could come into play next season. Or it could come into play. Like, if it routes back around and means something, at least she will have had meaning.
Ooh. Whoa. What if... Okay. You know how at the beginning of the season, the witch who talks to Cersei says she'll be replaced by someone more beautiful? It could totally be the Sand Snake.
There we go. Have the Sand Snakes rule.
They're so
Westeros.
important, Sophia.
Obviously, they mean everything.
Everyone just slaps each other's hands until someone wins. That's how every war will be fought.
I mean, I was going to ask you, like, if you think that Dorne is serving any sort of purpose at all. But, like, obviously we've already answered it. All it did, in my opinion, is it gave us a brief recess from the stress that this episode brought on.
If that, though, I mean, it was kind of like deep and dark stress, and then in Dorne,
and we didn't have to pay attention. It was like, oh, I can exist again. Yeah. I can, like, breathe and live my life and just watch the shittiness that comes with Dorne.
Yeah, and, like, maybe that's, like, the only good part of Dorne in this episode is, like, it took you out of the episode completely, so it took you out of all your, like, pain.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you got to see Bronn get hit in the face, and that was funny.
It was funny, but, like, at what cost?
There's no point. There's no point to anything in Dorne. Like, Alaria Sand and Jamie's conversation where she's like, I know she's your daughter. I know you love your sister. Yeah. I was like, stop.
I honestly, you're bringing up all these things, and I'm like, I totally forgot that happened, because I think I just tweeted the entire time about, like, unrelated stuff. Because I didn't care. I was like, oh.
I'm done. I don't care anymore.
I don't like this vacation. Take me out.
Please be done now. End this vacation. Yeah, I'm very disappointed in Dorne. I'm very disappointed. Like, and I hope they know that we're disappointed.
They do now.
They better know. Everybody listening to this podcast knows. Okay. So we can move away from Dorne now. I mean, we've taken our bats to it, like, multiple times, so we can be done now.
It is done.
So it is done.
It is done.
So next up, we've got Arya, who has finally caught a break in her incessant list of incessant list of death. That's a hard thing to say. Why did I write that down?
I like it, though. It sounds good.
Incessant list of death.
Yes.
Just as Kyle and I predicted, Mace Tyrell shows up on the docks of Bravos with Marin Trant in tow. Instead of killing a man whose death would absolutely benefit many citizens of Bravos, Arya is left with a chilling choice. Does she kill Marin instead? And I think that every viewer would appreciate him being killed, especially after the reveal that he is indeed a pedophile. Like, okay.
Yeah,
okay, let me just get into this. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I already knew Trant was a bad guy. He most likely killed Syrio Forel. Mm-hmm. He beat Sansa to a pulp. I mean, he allied with the Lannisters. Yeah. God knows what else. Was it absolutely necessary to make him even more evil? Like, there is no question as to why he's on Arya's list, but my God, wasting time proving that he's just an even worse person?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those things, again, in this episode of just, like, creating all the shock value for just kind of cheap thrills at this point. Like, it's kind of like, oh, you know, we could make it even worse. But it wasn't
thrilling. It was just like,
no, it wasn't thrilling. Oh,
you're gross. Like, you're gross and I already hate you. I don't need to hate you anymore. I will already be sad when you get... I won't be sad when you get... I will not be sad. Sorry. I will not be sad when you get killed. And now I'm just going to be like, oh, one less pedophile.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's very true. And I don't know, it's one of those choices in this
But a pedophile that's only been in one episode. Like,
I don't know. It's just, the choices made.
Like, why, guys?
I don't understand. This episode should be called, like, We Hate Children.
A dance with killing children.
A dance with killing children. That's it.
Or hurting them. Or maiming them.
Or hurting and maiming, also acceptable.
Like, okay, I know where this is going. Like, of course Arya will choose to kill him, infiltrating the whorehouse to do so, and there's going to be a really uncomfortable scene where she, like, parades around, and he's going to be like, you're young enough, let's go in the back room, and then she's going to be like, slit your throat. Like, I know that's going to, like, right, that's going to happen, right?
I don't know, but I want it to.
But I'm just fed up with unnecessary storytelling.
Yeah. Well, that's been the biggest problem, and it was a huge problem in this episode. Like, there were, in this episode, 3 strong scenes. 3 really strong scenes. The rest was all filler that, like, just...
And all of it had to do pretty much with Stannis or Dany.
Yeah. Or Jon. I mean, like, there was...
Oh, yeah, Jon.
I mean, even that didn't forward anything. We knew everything that was going to happen would happen in that scene. I think the only purpose of that scene is to see Sam go, no, dude, it's all good. Like, you're fine. Chill,
you got friends. It's me. I'm your friend. That's all you got. Friend. Sorry. Yeah. No, I'm just so done with them adding things for shock value. Mm-hmm. And I said that during, Sansa's, like, rape scene.
Yeah.
There we go, I said it. It wasn't the fact that she was being raped that was shocking. It was the way in which it was filmed. Mm-hmm. And, like, I'm very much done with these overly shocking things that happen. And this is gonna... we're gonna get into this when we talk about Stannis. But let's, quick side note, just to make me happy, because this is something that I loved in this episode. It was the one time I laughed, because a lot of times I wasn't laughing in this episode at all. It was like an inhumane, like, just screeching at the end of, like, I was watching with my 2 friends, and, like, they were both just like, are you alive? And I was like, ah! Like, no,
too many conflicting emotions.
Mace Tyrell is a glorious character. Like, his way of dealing with the Iron Bank, a.k.a. Mark Gaddis, who I love, was just a breath of fresh air. Like, I was worried that Trant was just going to straight up murder him right off the docks of Bravos, but instead, like, Mace sings on the streets and is like a one-man show, and, like, he's such a goof. It was so ridiculous, and it was just like, that's the kind of stuff that I need as a recess from all the stress.
Oh, yeah.
That was great. That was unnecessary, but it was funny, and it served a purpose as you're like, this guy's a goof.
Yeah, totally. But, I mean, the Tyrells just kick ass, too.
They do.
Oh, my God. Between him and Grandma Tyrell, like...
Oh, I know.
Yes. I just want to have, like, a family dinner with them and just hang out forever, for days.
I totally agree.
Yes.
I totally agree. I just, like, that was the one, like, honestly, that was probably my favorite scene. Because it was before, I think it was before everything that went down with Stannis. So I was still like, I can't remember. Was it? I think it was. And,
yeah.
And then, like, everything after Stannis, I was so negative that I just, like, couldn't I couldn't see past the negativity.
Yeah, oh man, which is so unfortunate because that last scene, though.
I know, it was really good. That's a perfect segue.
Oh,
because
hey.
we're going into Marine now.
What?
So would you like to take us through it since you did such a good time last week?
Yes, so much.
She's got her notes, guys. Get ready.
Down. Don't. I didn't write anything down. This is all off the
Have
top
you
of my
seen
head.
the notes today? I have copious notes. You are fine. Don't even worry about it.
You did it like in the, real 2015 way. I was like, I'll write it next to my candlelight.
Just like the Maester's voice.
Just like the Maester. Oh. Yes.
All right, take us through it. What went down?
So, Danny has officially reopened the fighting pits, which, by the way, plot twist, it's a freaking Coliseum, not a pit.
We have to eat our words, because last week, I don't know, like, Carly and I were talking about how shitty they were. Like, we're just like, that's the most disappointing fighting pits I've ever seen.
Yeah.
They were just the preview.
Well, they lived up to their name at that point. It was like, it's literally a pit in which people fight. No. It's the freaking,
Coliseum. That's what I was expecting.
That's what I wasn't expecting.
It made it even better that you and I, doused it so much, and then in this episode, it was just it was literally the Coliseum of Roman times. It was yeah, gladiators, lions, yeah.
This is the stuff that gladiators are made of. It was awesome. Which is funny just because, in the previews for the season, it was totally there. We just never...
I know, we just
forgot it. She does the little, and it's in the preview, but who knew? It's
Whoopsies, we made a mistake. We were, you know what, we were ranting at that point, I think.
Totally.
Just ranting. All right.
Go over it.
So fighting pits.
All right, so fighting Coliseum.
Fighting Coliseum.
In which they are. So they are, the fighting pits have officially been reopened. Danny is kind of, watching this all go down. She still is not loving this whole thing.
Really not.
I'm loving that Dario is, the best third wheel ever. And just keeps, leaning between them, kind of hey, we still sleeping together.
He's like, hey, lady. I've seen you naked. You've seen me naked. We're equals. You suck. Sorry you're gonna die later on.
I didn't see you there. I'm sorry.
Sorry, man. Sorry, let me just get out of the way.
Yeah, I'll sit here.
Let me sit here.
Just you stay in the back. It's fine. You're good. So that was great. But we get a little bit more of the Danny Tyrion interaction, which is always fantastic and still makes my heart, flutter every time.
I loved I was reading a review and they pointed this out, and because I do that because I like to see what other people think.
Totally.
At the point where I'm jumping forward because I'll forget if I don't, because I did not write this down. So when Jorah's in the fighting pits, spoiler, sorry. Oh my god. And Tyrion goes, "You can end this," and then Hizdahr goes, "She can't," and then Tyrion, instead of facing him, he looks to her and goes, "You can," and it's just you see her as an equal. Oh, thank you, Tyrion. You're amazing. This is what she needed because Barristan is dead.
Because Barristan is dead.
She needs a person that doesn't see her as a sexual object, like Jorah does.
Exactly.
Obviously, he's in love with her. I mean, he does care about her, but for Tyrion, it's straight up, I believe in you, and I want you to be the ruler.
Yes.
And so that, I loved that. And so sorry, that's all I have to say.
No, I completely agree. It's a fantastic dynamic, and that's why every time it's on screen, the chemistry there is so just present and clear.
Thank God this took up 20 minutes. That's all I say. Thank you. Yeah. No, thank you for letting this scene be so long.
Oh my god, yeah. They should have had, honestly, any scene with the Sand Snakes should have just been replaced with Danny and Tyrion sitting in the room silently. That would have been
just
better.
Staring at each other.
Just staring, hey, what's up?
How are you doing? You alright tonight? You looking good.
Alright.
That wig's alright.
That wig is doing it.
That wig is looking good on you.
Okay, but I'm sorry. So, yes. Out comes Jorah into the fighting pits where people are being beheaded. I mean, it was very
brutal.
Very brutal in the fighting pits, which, to be expected in the fighting pits. But still, brutal stuff. Jorah comes out. Brutal. And Jorah is kind of giving it his all, not doing so great for the most part in the fight, which is so heartbreaking. And it was one of the few times, there's a lot of times in these episodes where you can be like, all right, we know how this is going to end. I honestly was like, I don't trust them anymore.
I was like, they're going to kill off Jorah. They're going to kill Jorah. They're going to do it.
Yeah, you texted me, just a ton of texts that were just like, oh my god, if they do it, no, I'm done if they do it. They can't do it.
They already they killed Tyrion, they can't kill Jorah. Please, Lord, please, no. I'm done. I did text her, I'm done, yes. I'm done.
Done with everything.
Yeah.
But they did not, which is great. He comes out of the fight victorious, and actually kills a guy who was sneaking up, creeping behind Daenerys.
He got one of the Sons of Harper. He nailed him right in the heart.
Got him right in the heart.
Yep.
shot in the heart. Okay.
But you're too late. You give love a bad name. Nailed it.
Yes.
We nailed that.
So that begins this kind of chain effect. Well, I guess before that, Danny accepts Jorah back. They do a little, handshake.
During that, though.
Was it
during the fight? Yeah,
it was during the fight.
He after all of the Sons of the Harpy pour into the Coliseum, people are screaming.
Oh, that was during.
Jorah hoists himself up,
yes,
and they're all getting attacked and pushed back. I think his Dar is about to be killed, and Jorah takes her hand, and then they run away.
That's right. Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah. But that scene actually was really cool when they all started rising out of the audience because. Maybe this is naive, I did not see that coming, and I thought it was awesome. I don't quite know where the Unsullied were this whole
time. What the hell, dude?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember I was arguing with Kyle about this when Barristan was killed, because I was like, the Unsullied are apparently the best fighters in Westeros, in Essos, in the entirety of Game of Thrones. They are the best fighters, and they can't take down some simpletons in an alley.
Yeah, and the people who are the Sons of Harpy, they're not Unsullied.
They're not trained. They're just trained. Hey, I want to fight. Let me fight. That's literally.
It's kind of like that friend you have, if you're an artist or whatever, your friend's like, oh, I want to take up art, and you're like, oh, that's cute, you can try, and then they're better than you, and you're like, no.
How dare you? That's exactly, because, it's so frustrating, because the Unsullied were getting cut down left and right, and it's what are you good for? She didn't buy you, technically. She burned your slave trader to the ground.
Minor details.
Her
dragons did that.
Still, she was gonna buy you for a lot of money. You can't feel pain. Why did you die so quickly?
Yeah. And it was I read something today where they were just where were the Unsullied? They were there, but were they really all there?
No.
They were cuddling with prostitutes, and it's
guys, get your head in the game.
Get your head in the game.
To quote Troy Bolton.
Okay. I was thinking, I don't know why I thought Troy, and then I thought Coliseums, and I thought you meant
Nope, I'm going High School Musical on that. You gotta get your head in the game. Or was that? No, that was Corbin Bleu. Right? Singing to Troy. Anyway, sorry.
Ooh, tangent.
Sorry, guys. Let's not talk about High School Musical, please. All I remember is get your head in the game.
I don't even remember.
Give a head in the game. That's all I know.
That's all you need.
Well, Disney Channel movies. Alright, anyway.
Yes.
Keep going.
Oh god, where did we go? Okay, Jorah has his friendship redeemed and is, free to be...
Jorah, let me just say, it's my trashiest ship that I partake in, is Jorah and Danny. It's so icky, to me, because in the books, Jorah's, not a good person. He's okay, but, he's kind of ugly, and, he kisses her at one point, and it's gross. But, in the books, or in the show, I love Ian Glenn, and, I love the chemistry that he and Emilia Clarke have.
Yeah.
And so, to finally see him redeemed after so much heartache, and, working to get her to accept him again.
Yeah.
It was only in this time she realized that she needed him. She was holy shit, I'm going to die. And here, and in my last few moments, I'm going to accept him back into my life because we're all going to die.
Yeah, I don't even know if it was one of those things where she really needed him. I don't know, because
he definitely needs her.
We know definitely needs her.
We know that he needs her. He's been exiled twice, and he's come back twice. Obviously he needs her, but I just thought that was also a little saving grace of this episode, was him finally being redeemed, because we know he's going to die.
Exactly. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. He is going to die either way, which is upsetting, because even when he didn't die in the Coliseum, the fighting Coliseum,
we all knew he's got death has marked him. He's gone.
Yeah, and
that's so sad.
It's so sad. Let's cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, okay, let's
Not there yet.
Continue. Sorry, I keep interrupting. I just have so many words.
So then, alright, this is when shit gets so real. Oh. So, Sons of the Harpy, they are all up and everywhere. They're like ants pouring onto a bagel or some shit that got dropped on the street. That was a weird way to take it, but that's how it's happening.
They're like ants.
On a bagel.
I'm
really hungry. I'm actually not. I just always like bagels. But okay, anyway. So, this is really derailing.
It's okay. We're gonna keep going. So, they're ants pouring out of every
bagel.
crevasse.
All the crevasses.
Yes.
So, there is no escape. I mean, this was a scary moment. Danny, Tyrion, Jorah, all of them are kind of in the middle. Dario.
Missandei.
Everyone we care about. They're just kind of they're stuck in the middle, kind of giving it their all, but I mean, there are
some Unsullied in there.
There's a couple.
There are like 4.
There's a few who woke up from whatever nap they were taking in the corner of the Coliseum.
Oh, our Khaleesi needs us.
Hey, Misa. Like, sorry. Misa.
That sounds like a Pokemon.
It totally does.
Misa.
I choose you, Misa.
And then they'd have something called Misa. Or something like that.
That was like, that was like a Furby. It sounds like a Furby.
Misa.
Ooh, all right.
Cool. If you guys have any ideas as to what Misa the Pokemon would sound like,
would
let
it
us
be
know.
Fire type, Earth type,
water
type,
or would
rock
it be
type,
rock or dark
or psychic? Or this is
it like anyway?
Yeah. You're like, why did I have her give a description of this episode?
No, I love it. This is because we're about to get we're gonna get into some really depressing stuff.
Yes,
so this is
moment.
really good.
We needed this. All right, so hopeless moment, all is lost. And then, I swear to God, right before this happened, I tweeted, and I've since deleted it because I was like, too many dragon tweets, but I tweeted, where are you at, Drogon?
That was like me tweeting about ghosts.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, totally. I totally get it. We totally talked about that.
It's all coming back.
It's all coming back.
Cheers
to that. Oh, no, I was drinking, but yeah, cheers to that. Yeah, so Drogon shows up.
So Drogon freaking comes out of nowhere, starts just
out of a ball of fire.
He comes out of a ball of fire.
Cool. He was like, you know what would be a cool entrance? I put fire out in front of me and I come through it.
He's theatrical.
He's very theatrical.
Yes.
I mean, he's it's fair. I think he's probably the oldest. I mean, he and Khaleesi definitely have the strongest bond.
Totally.
So I'm guessing he was the oldest.
First out of the nest, and he is the first to kind of come into his own and mature. And I appreciate it.
I appreciate Drogon so much.
I think we all should.
Yeah, he comes out in a great ball of fire. Anyway,
great. I'm not going to start
great balls of fire.
Thank you.
Yeah, I do it.
So even Drogon cannot hold off this army of Sons of the Harpy that is happening right now. So then Dany does something that at first I was like, is this jumping the shark a little? Because she crawls up on Drogon, and I was like, oh my god, it's happening, and then flies off on Drogon. Which I'm just gonna play devil's advocate for a second here and say she did not save anybody else. She left them.
But what I will say is that she knew that Drogon was going to die.
Yeah, and
totally that's why. And she chose to save her child over because he had knocked down enough people that I'm sure
they could have handled it.
Jorah and Dario and the rest of the Unsullied could have handled it.
Even Tyrion.
And Tyrion kicked some total ass. He saved Missandei, and that was awesome.
It was great.
But I would say that she knew that Drogon was going to go down fighting, and so she wanted to take him out of the arena.
Okay,
I think that's what happened.
I think it is too now because I was like, all right.
I mean, I also know because I've read the books.
Slight bias, but that's okay. No, but so she's officially a rider of dragons, which
she's the mother
of dragons. And remind me again, because I've been trying to figure this out, but I know that there was, I think she was talking about this in one season, that there were not many riders of dragons.
Dragons don't exist, dude. What? But like dragons. Wait, are you saying there were
in the past?
In the past, yeah, no. The Targaryens.
No, yeah, but weren't there a select few who could really do it, and she just kind of owned it? I don't know.
She totally owned it. I mean, yes. I think it was the Targaryens that had dragons were able to ride them. That's what I know. That's what
the ones who didn't have dragons couldn't ride their imaginary dragon.
Sorry,
well, yeah,
sucks for you. You don't have a dragon. Yeah, but I'm not sure. I'm not up to date on my Targaryen history. I know. I'm sorry. I've let you down. I'm so sorry.
I'm just gonna drink.
Yeah, just drink your sorrows away. Okay, You did such a great job with that, by the way. Yeah, we got a little sidetracked.
Long of it, yeah.
We got a sidetrack, but I think that this scene was absolutely this episode's saving grace. Although I don't know that anything could really save it. As a book reader, because here we go, I knew that Dany and Drogon would have this moment, but I wasn't sure how it was going to be done because it does happen at the opening of the fighting pits, and I think someone gets poisoned. It's been a while since I've read it, honestly, which is bad because it was the last book, so it shouldn't have been that long since I've read it. But Drogon does show up, Drogon does save her, and she flies off into the ether with him. I wasn't sure how they were going to pull it off. It's safe to say that they did a fine job.
Yeah.
I think they did a really good job. Like, it was a great scene. I was just so impacted by what had happened earlier that I could not find anything happy in it. Except for, like, the little shriek I had when Jorah and Dany, like, shook hands, because I'm gross. I can say that the CGI needed a little bit of work, but that was just me being a negative Nancy. Like, while watching it, I was like, yeah, they could have done better job. I think, though, that the one really important thing to note was Tyrion's face as he watches her fly.
I wrote that down.
Did
Sorry.
you really?
I wrote a paragraph about it.
Oh my god!
I'm
Okay, good.
You go.
I just think that that's one of the most important things, if not the most important thing, to take away from this scene is Tyrion's face as she flies off on Drogon. It means he's going to be a new man. Like, he needed to see the real Daenerys in order to believe that she was going to be a good ruler. And now he has. Because I remember he and Jorah are talking, and he's like, are you a believer? And Tyrion's like, not really, I'm a skeptic. And then he was like, what about you? And Jorah's like, well, and I saw this girl walk into the flames and be reborn with her children. And I had never heard it. And like, have you ever heard a dragon sing before? Like, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And like, then Drogon or whatever. Then Drogon flies over them, and it's beautiful, and there's always been this, like, sort of hearkening to Tyrion and Drogon, and Tyrion needing to see Drogon, and so for me, it was such an important scene for Tyrion, because he's pretty much becoming my favorite character now, besides Davos, oh my god. But, like, now that Stannis, now that Stannis has gone dark, like, I'm very much like, well, who do I support? I don't know. Tyrion. Let's go with Tyrion. Let's go with that. Like, I'm still questioning it. But anyway, your paragraph.
Yes. As you know, Tyrion is my favorite character.
I do know, because I know what your birthday present is.
What?
Yeah. What? Yeah, I know.
Oh my god. This is so sudden.
I mean, I don't have it with me. So continue on your paragraph.
Oh my god.
I don't have it with me.
I just can't focus now.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so, see, now I'm all like, excited about
you're excited about your birthday present.
You got me Peter Dinklage?
I did! He's gonna show up at the door any moment.
Oh my god!
Hey, Peter! He's married. Sorry. But
married ain't married.
Just because there's a goalie doesn't mean you can't score.
Oh my god. I found my new tagline in life.
I'm kidding.
Same.
Obviously, I'm kidding. All right, so Tyrion.
Yes, I wrote down.
I'm leaving that in, by the way.
I would be insulted.
You're welcome, listeners. All right, so
you just got to know us real well.
Yeah, you did.
Yes, I wrote this. My favorite part of this scene, and you know me and dragons, but my favorite part of the scene was Tyrion's reaction to what was going on. Because not only, like you said, was this a huge moment for him, but he knows the history of everything that you need to know the history of. I mean, he really knows the history like any good leader or advisor should. And him seeing what is going on now, that, you know, this fantastical world of dragons and the human world that have not really meshed as they have until now, coming together, and to see the first dragon rider or person who has had dragons in years. In years.
Dragons have been extinct for, like, millennia.
Exactly.
Or something.
Exactly.
Something like that. Thousands of years. Let's go with thousands of years. Let's not go for millennia.
Long time.
A long time.
It's been a while.
There are, like, skulls of dragons in the basement of King's Landing.
Like, fossilized skulls. I mean, like, they're old
like
old
skulls, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So to see him react to that, not only knowing that he knows this history and he knows how significant this is, but also, I will say, as an avid reader of the first half of the first book,
yeah,
there is a paragraph I highlighted where it's Tyrion's chapter, and it literally is a paragraph going on about how much he loves dragons. And so,
obviously, you and Tyrion are meant to be.
I mean, obviously, this is going to happen. It just, we'll figure it out.
He's a fictional character, but we'll figure it out.
Oh,
we'll get there. That's not important.
Minor details.
Minor details.
Exactly. It's either him or Netflix, and it's like, which one? Let's go with the human one.
Yeah, there you go.
You're
a smart lady. You figured it out. Yeah.
It'll happen. We have holographic technology.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, to see him reacting to this not only as a knower of the history, but as a fan of dragons, I was like, this is such a great little moment for him. It's so cool. And I mean, it shows kind of what is to come, which is now he recognizes a very big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know if that made any sense that I just said.
No, it does.
Sure
it does. I mean, he knows that this is huge.
Yes.
But the fact is, now he is left in Marine, and he is left to deal with what happened in Marine with Jorah, with Dario, with Missandei, with Grey Worm, who was not in this episode. Yeah. Who I bet would have loved to get in on the action. Sorry, Grey Worm. You're still almost dead. I'm pretty sure. But, like, he is now left to deal with that, but he has that belief now that Dany is capable. And I think that that's going to fuel him. And I'm really excited. This is the one thing I'm so excited to... The differentiation from this and the series is, like, this is probably my favorite thing that they've done. Oh. Because seeing Tyrion and Dany together... And to see, like, him finally reaffirming his faith in something is so important. Because he is, like, Peter Dinklage is the first name in the opening credits. Like, obviously, Tyrion is just, like, one of the most important characters. Yeah. And I'm so excited to see what's going to happen with him.
That, and I mean, he finally gets to be the leader that we all know he's capable of being.
Right.
And one of the great things... And be listened to, exactly.
Because she's like, you're going to be my advisor. And he's like, oh. Cool. Yeah, I mean, he's not like that. Obviously, he's like, hell yeah. I mean, obviously,
that was the exact reaction.
I could be Tyrion, is what you're saying. You know, I could not be. There's no question.
I thought you were for a second.
I embodied him so much that you thought I was him. But yeah, and I'm so excited. Beyond excited to see what's going to happen in the last episode, even though I don't think that they're going to see each other. But in season 6.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see not only... them come together as advisor and leader, but him be able to be in a leading position again, because we know he's capable of it. I mean, like, even at Blackwater, right? With the...
Yeah, Blackwater.
Blackwater.
With the fire.
With the fire, yes.
Yeah.
Even there, I mean,
I was about to say Fend Fire, but that's Harry Potter, so...
It's close. It's basically...
Fend Fire is Harry Potter. Anyway, yeah, basically the same. It's just like adult Harry Potter.
That's basically what
without Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Jon Snow, he has black hair.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah. All good. No, it's going to be awesome. I'm excited.
All right, so... Great job on the Dany stuff. That was really good.
Thanks.
So... God, I'm preparing myself. So we watched as one potential ruler rose into the air and rose up.
Yep.
Well, another one fell completely.
There were two different types of flames in this episode.
There really
one was awesome. The other
one was definitely not awesome. So, and now it's time to talk about it. Look, it's no secret that I'm one of the biggest Stannis supporters out there. And even though I've thought about this for hours, I still can't quite put into words how I feel. Betrayed, heartbroken even, but most of all, I'm angry. I'm not angry at Stannis, funnily enough. Not even Melisandre, although the sooner Davos puts a knife through her chest, the better.
Yeah.
I doubt that will ever happen.
Just
but
give
let us dream. Let us dream a little bit, okay? Like, let us dream that Melisandre meets her end by Davos. Like, that would be amazing.
Oh, that's what I'm hoping.
Like, I don't know that it's going to happen, but
we can live in it.
Yeah.
Live in the dream.
So why I'm angry, I'm angry at the writers for doing such a shoddy job at retconning. But before we get into that, let's do a quick overview of what happened, because apparently we all need reminding. This isn't going to be an overview. I'm probably going to go on a bunch of tangents.
We should just sing it.
This is guys. It's Stannis time. So let's talk about it. So after his camp is attacked, Stannis makes a decision. But in order to ensure that it actually happens, he sends away his only semblance of reason, Davos Seaworth. And if you didn't know what was going to happen at this point, Stannis telling Davos to ride for the Night's Watch was definitely the final nail in Shireen's coffin.
Yeah.
And the worst part is that Davos, I feel like on some level, knew what was about to go down, but didn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
Since season 2, he's been the reason behind understanding Stannis' methodology. And, like, any time that Stannis did something stupid, it was because of, like, no, wait, hang on. Anytime Stannis didn't do something stupid, it was because Davos was there to put his foot down. And I'm going to get to the Onion Knight of my heart later on, because I have an entire segment dedicated to him. But for now, we're just going to focus this solely on Stannis, because I think that that's what this needs. Because I'm, like I said, I mean, from the beginning of this season especially, the beginning of this podcast, I have said, I am a Stannis fan. I am a House Baratheon fan. Mm-hmm. I believe in him. He is the one true king. He would be a great leader. honestly, you guys, I had a lot of trouble writing this part down. Like, it takes a lot to shake me, you know, because I'm armed with the knowledge of what goes down in the books, and I'm used to being shocked. And normally, I mean, I love it. This season has been a bit of a question mark, but the final scene between Stannis and Shireen and his troops and all of that, like, I mean, nothing could have prepped me for that. I've literally thrown every egg I've got into Stannis Baratheon's basket because the man that I supported was one who was bound by one thing and one thing only, and that is duty. And maybe it's my mistake for believing that the Stannis in the books is the same one that is portrayed on the show, but I figured, hey, he's such a stalwart character that they wouldn't dare go after his basic human foundation, right? No, I was wrong. I'm just really quickly going to read a quote from A Storm of Swords that I think outlines my beliefs perfectly. It's chapter 36. It's a Davos chapter, in case anybody was wondering.
Wonderful.
So, a little background, Stannis is grinding his teeth about the Iron Throne. He's pretty much wondering, why would anybody want it so badly? When Davos, and that prompts Davos to ask him, well, why do you want it? And Stannis essentially says this. It is not a question of wanting, Stannis replies. The throne is mine as Robert's heir. That is law. After me, it must pass on to my daughter unless Silius should finally give me a son. I am king. Wants do not enter into it. I have a duty to my daughter, to the realm, even to Robert. He loved me but little, I know, yet he was my brother. David Benioff, I'm gonna slightly point fingers here, and like I know that's not a good thing to do because he's a showrunner, but I feel like I have to because I'm so betrayed. Like I feel so betrayed. Said that Stannis is defined by his will, and that is literally the length to which I agree with him. He goes on to say that sacrificing Shireen comes down to two things, ambition versus familial love, and then says that for Stannis, the choice is ambition. And now I'd like to call bullshit. Did you not hear the quote I just read? Like, does that sound like an ambition to you? No. Stannis is a man bound by duty. There is no freaking way he would ever allow his daughter to be burned alive. Like, what we saw on Sunday was terrifying to the core because it means that retconning is real. In the Game of Thrones world, destroying any semblance of the character I believe to be Stannis Baratheon is just the tip of the iceberg. They spent this entire season building up this character. They gave him depth. They allowed him to love his daughter so much. Like, gave us the best scene of the season, I think. Only to rip it away at a drop of a hat. And I can only ask why. Like, I don't know, Carly, but to me it seems like shock value is becoming so much more important than storytelling. And it makes me sick to my stomach because all Stannis really had going for him as being a likable character was the love that he had for his daughter. Like, and yet, where did that? Like, it disappeared. Okay, I've been talking for a while, so why don't you take the reins for a second while I cool off, because it is like I said, it's a lot for me to handle.
Yes.
Maybe I'm like way too involved in this, but I mean, I am a podcast host. I've read the books, like I know the show. I thought I knew what they were, what they thought.
You like Game of Thrones a little,
yeah, just a little bit. So like, yeah, I did to know your thoughts on it.
Yes, I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I completely agree with the fact that it's so strange to me that they would build up a Stannis with that scene where he says, you are my daughter, and that
you are Princess Shireen of the House Baratheon, and you are my daughter.
You got it. Like that exact scene. That was a fantastic scene, and they almost tried pulling this like Joss Whedon type thing with it, where it was like, let's build this up, let's make it soft and fuzzy, and then let's crush it.
But even Joss Whedon wasn't this heartless.
Well, no, but I
don't think he was this. He wouldn't have killed Shireen in this way.
This wasn't even heartless. It was just, it was cheap.
Yeah.
In the sense that they basically used that scene as something that built a character. And for me personally, it made me like Stannis. I didn't give a shit about Stannis before. I was like, I don't care about Stannis.
The purpose was to make him likable.
Exactly. And then they took it away. They basically used that as a foot in the door to get us all to care about and pay attention to Stannis. And then they shot it away. And it was like, all right, well, that was a cheap shot. And it was used for a cheap thrill.
Yep.
Which is really kind of upsetting. And I know that what you were saying about the showrunner was interesting because I read an Entertainment Weekly, not review, but like a thing where they talked to the showrunner, and he was extremely defensive about the scene, which to me is immediately a red flag. And the scene and the choice that they made in the scene only made some kind of sense to me, not good sense, but some kind of sense to me after reading his response, which is terrible storytelling. If you have to explain and justify your reason for doing something in a show for it to make sense to an audience, you've already failed.
Right.
And so the fact that he was that defensive was a red flag. The other thing is that one of his defenses was that, this is what was his quote? He said something basically that said, horrible things happen to people on the show. And it was very cut and dry. Horrible things happen to people on the show. And then he said something to the extent of, we need to stop picking and choosing who we give our empathy to. You know, Stannis has burned people before. Why should this matter anymore? It was basically that. And to me, it's like, that would only make sense if this was something that would have forwarded the plot. Horrible things do happen to people on the show. But I mean, take like the Red Wedding, take Ned Stark. Both of those things were huge plot points that had purpose. And they had multiple purposes to them. And they forwarded the plot in many ways. This was not only heartless, it was purely there for thrill. And not thrill, you know what I mean though?
Shock value. Shock value, yeah.
And I don't really care because it was confirmed that Martin talked to the people working the show and said, "Yeah, this is going to happen eventually."
Yeah, I'm gonna get into that.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna get into that actually in the showdown. That's what I'm gonna get into that.
Okay, good. I'm excited to hear it because when I read that, I was still like, okay, great, like it happens in the books, but who cares? Like, still,
the show and the books are separate entities. They've gone to so much length to say that the show is deviating from the books. So who gives a shit if it's happening in the books? Which
could potentially have people be like, well, because it's separate from the books, Stannis could totally be this character. I disagree with that too because it was such a lazy choice. I mean, like I was thinking about it and I was like, a better alternate plot for me. I came up with this in 5 seconds at work, like between clicking on like 2 images on my computer. I would have liked to see. I don't know if Shireen had to die, which she's going to in the books, and maybe would have in the show regardless of what happened in this episode. I would have liked to maybe see Stannis absent from the camp after the attack on the camp. His soldiers are dying. Melisandre's there to kind of, take control of whatever's going on. And she makes the choice that, okay, this is going to happen. Stannis comes back and then is faced with the choice of, this happened without my permission. This is a horrible thing that happened. Do I continue on this path that she started me on, or do I stop it here because this needs to end? There you go.
There's a good moral dilemma for you.
There you go. There's no moral dilemma here. It's just... It was just a horrible character choice.
And it came out of the blue.
Completely.
Because they've been building up this character so much. He has always been the one that has been like, she's my daughter, I love her, I don't care what you think. Mm-hmm. And so for me to it is so heartbreaking for me. And maybe it's the wine too. Like I'm feeling very emotional. Like I knew that this was going to be really hard for me to talk about because I really did support Stannis. I do believe that he would be a great king because he does make the hard decisions, but this isn't a hard decision.
Exactly, and that's the thing, is this was such an easy choice both from the perspective of a writer and both from the perspective of a character. This was the easy way out, and not only does this prove that he's willing to basically cut corners to become ruler in the most unfair way possible by basically cheating.
Right, exactly.
But also, the one decision he has made thus far, in my opinion, which was not even a decision. The decision to say, no, she's my daughter, I'm not going to kill her, 2 episodes or 1 episode ago or whatever, that to me was like, okay, this guy can be a ruler because he's not taking the easy way out. And we talked about this last week.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, maybe he'll give Shireen to Davos. Because that would make sense. Davos is his right-hand man. Davos is just the one person that is his voice of reason.
Yeah.
So giving Shireen to Davos would have been a hard way out because he would have had to brave the cold winter without King's blood. But at the same time, it would have made sense in terms of his character.
Right.
Protect my child at all costs. The Iron Throne is for her if I die.
Exactly. And I mean, even from looking at the perspective of him as kind of a pawn to Melisandre, if he has that awareness that, he is kind of like that pawn and he is weak in that way. And I feel like sending her away would not only protect her, sending her away with Davos, but it would also be like, send her away so that I don't even think about it.
Right, so that it's not a possibility.
Right, yeah. Which would have further you made his character deep and complex, and instead they just went with the easiest.
They cut corners.
They cut every single corner. It's a circle now.
It is. While we're on the topic of irksome while we're on the irksome topic, wow, I can't even speak anymore. Like, I'm so upset. While we're on the irksome topic of ruining character progression, let's talk about how Celise was the one to crack under pressure. Shireen is dragged up to the pyre, lit on fire, all while screaming for her parents, and Celise comes up to Stannis whispering that this is the only way for them to win the war. Quickly, though, after hearing Shireen actually screaming for her life, which, side note, this was some of the best directing I have seen on Game of Thrones. It was the most effective scene. It shocked me to my core in a way that, like, nothing else has since the Red Wedding.
And her as an actress.
Like, oh my god, incredible.
Holy shit.
It was so well done. Yeah. Like, mad props to the director for doing that scene the way that was. Because we don't even see her burn. We just hear it. Yeah. And, like, that was the hardest part.
That's one thing the season has been very good at is telling and not showing.
Yeah.
Because
I didn't like the Sansa thing, but, like, I definitely...
I did, like, I know we differ.
We totally differ. But okay. I appreciate that we differ. I love it. But, like, I think you and I both agree that this was some incredible directing.
Absolutely.
Anyway, so after hearing Shireen screaming for her life, Celise, like, wakes up to the fact that her daughter is being burned alive and tries to stop it. And once again, like, I was left speechless, but, like, not in a good way. Mm-hmm. Ever since we met Celise, she has been the constant, like, the parent with the issue. Way back in I think we met her in season 3, I believe. It wasn't season 2. Celise mutters that Shireen needs the rod. Stannis says, hell no. When Stannis arrives at Dragonstone and wants to see his daughter, Celise is the one that is bothered by it. She's like, you came to see your daughter and not me. Like, throughout the entirety of the series, they've taken pains to drive this point home that Celise is not a good mother, that Celise does not care for her, for her daughter. And while I get the argument of mother's instinct, I find it hard to believe that Celise has any semblance of mother left inside of her. This was some of the weakest writing.
Yeah.
And if anyone was to break, it should have been the man they've been building up this entire season. Yeah. It's preposterous. Like, it is ridiculous. And it really removed a lot of my belief in Game of Thrones as a whole. And yes, I'm a Baratheon supporter, so of course I'm salty, but this is just lazy storytelling. Like, I know we're spending a lot of time on this subject, but I feel like it's really important because I have been such a Stannis fan. Like, I don't know, but you see my point, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely. I need to make a point, too, just for the people who cannot be here and see this. She is tearing up. This is real. Like, you need to understand.
It's not just the wine. Like, I'm not just talking out of my ass here. Like, I want to read another excerpt, this time from Winds of Winter, which actually hasn't come out yet. And I take great pains not to read the new chapters because I want to read it all, like, in one go. But essentially, in this scene, Stannis is sending one of his knights to Braavos to deal with the Iron Bank, and has this to say to him. It may be that we lose his... Wait, hang on. I gotta get into my Stannis. Thing. Okay.
Channel Stannis.
Channel Stannis before this. Like, okay.
The old Stannis.
Okay. It may be that we shall lose this battle, the king said grimly. In Braavos you may hear that I am dead. It may even be true. You shall find my sellswords nonetheless. The knight hesitated. Your grace, if you are dead, you will avenge my death and seat my daughter on the Iron Throne or die in the attempt. Like, honestly, I'm at a loss. I don't quite know how to proceed from here, especially because I have this awful, like, just gut feeling that things are going to go really, really badly in the finale for a multitude of characters. I don't know. Carly, do you have any last things to say? Like, because obviously you're sitting here with me right now. You can feel the pain emanating.
I feel, yes. I get, like, the emotion is palpable.
It is.
Yeah, and I mean, I think in this case it would be easy to argue that, like I said before, books and show, two different things. But up until now, the choices they've made that have differed from the books have been pretty effective and have made sense.
I've agreed with a lot of the choices they've made.
Exactly. And I mean, I don't even read the books, but I can kind of sense, like, you know, okay, like, this is nothing, but, or, like, I'll read about it and I'll be like, okay, this wasn't from the books, but, like, yeah, it was still really cool and it still really worked. Yeah. And the whole season has worked out pretty well.
It's been a great season. Until this point, it's been a great season.
Exactly. So, yeah, it would be easy to argue that, you know, the Stannis in the show and the Stannis in the books are two different things, but I honestly don't think that justifies any of this because they, at the very least, missed a great opportunity to really further complicate his character and make him a really interesting character to follow and pay attention to and care about. And this basically destroyed that. It tore it apart. They started to build it.
For no reason, apparently.
For no reason. I mean, and him not even breaking when this is happening.
Like him staring at his daughter being burned alive.
Yeah.
That's when you see no semblance of Stannis is left.
Exactly. And I mean, maybe I totally misinterpreted this. She's yelling like she cannot see her parents.
Yeah.
So that means, and I'm gonna pull the Ned Stark card again really quick here. Ned Stark said that whenever you're going to kill somebody, basically,
you have to look him in the eye.
And look him in the eye. Exactly. Stannis can't even do, and I understand, like, he can't even do that with his daughter. He won't even be in her eye line as she's dying by his hand.
Yeah.
And it's
someone said that this is the same way that he killed Renly. And I don't know how I feel about that because here we go. I'm talking. This is not notes anymore. We've ventured far away from my notes, but essentially, a lot of people think that Stannis having sex with Melisandre and then sending the Shadow Demon to kill Renly, that was all Stannis. But for me, that was all Melisandre. And this episode just drove home the point that the Stannis in the show is just a pawn.
Yeah. Oh, completely, 100%.
And if you believe that the Azor Ahai theory that Jon Snow is actually the one that Melisandre backs, Stannis is going to die.
Oh, I have not heard that theory.
Oh, it's essentially that Melisandre is putting all of her fake eggs into Stannis' basket because she believes that Azor Ahai reincarnated is actually Jon Snow.
Oh.
But she needs Stannis to win the North because Jon won't.
She's just bad.
I know.
She's just bad news.
I just as you can see, I'm very emotional. But for now, let's move on. Let's move on because I'm super depressed. I get really depressed. I mean, obviously, we were texting about this earlier. I was texting her as I was going through the episode again, and I just got to the point
before the wine.
Way before the wine. I was at my work a few days ago, and my boss was watching the episode, and I could hear Shireen screaming, and I was like, I literally can't do this. I had to get up and leave. I'm so emotional, and it's so sad because I was so affected by this. Yeah. So let's move on to Davos talk.
Davos talk.
Because he is my other light in the darkness. I mean, he has
light.
always been my favorite character. I've never strayed from that. People were like, Stannis? And I was like, no, Davos. Davos is the reason I love Stannis as much as I do. I mentioned earlier that Davos has always been the voice of reason for Stannis. I mean, just watch a few episodes of season 2 and you'll see that. So when Mantis made the decision to send Sir Davos away, that was when my heart sank. Of all the people to talk him out of sacrificing his own daughter, Davos stands alone. The worst part is that Davos did know this was a possibility, but I think that his belief in his king sheltered him slightly. Yeah. So when he says goodbye to Shireen, it's his subconscious telling him that the worst is yet to come. As a going-away gift, Davos brings her a hand-carved wooden stag toy, and he thanks her for teaching him to read. He goes on to explain that she acted as a surrogate child to him as his son was killed in the Battle of Blackwater. And of course, we could all feel the impending doom, but there's no denying that these little scenes between Shireen and Davos have been some of the strongest the show has ever given.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They've been little glimmers of hope in an otherwise very dark world.
Very dark world. But through that scene, even I was just like, oh, God.
That scene was exactly the scene where I was like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
that's
I think that's what that was what that scene was meant for.
I completely agree, and which is so heartbreaking because that scene happened, I was like, "Aw," and then 5 seconds later, I was like, "No, yeah, that's not happening."
Although I can't say who I'm more afraid for once Davos returns to the camp. There is no denying that he has never agreed with Melisandre, but his relationship with Shireen was one that provided strength for his character. Yeah. Granted, Davos will do anything for Stannis, but I honestly wonder if this is going to be the breaking point. My hope is that laying this groundwork for this is laying the groundwork for Davos to finally have his own story. Yeah. And to finally break free of Stannis. Of the Stannis that is now.
Exactly. And I completely agree because while he will do anything for Stannis, he's never been one not to question him. Yep. So I do think that this could easily be, the final drop in the bucket that means, okay,
Davos is on his own.
Exactly. So I'm going to be very curious to see what happens, and very, very sad to see what happens.
I mean, Davos is going to be heartbroken because I've always loved Davos and Stannis' relationship. I said this in one episode. Like, I believe that they're like platonic soulmates, and that they just give each other the perfect, like they mesh perfectly. But the Stannis I love, as far as I'm concerned, is dead.
Yeah.
And to see Davos go off on his own would sort of be another saving grace. I don't know. I don't know if Davos is going to stand by Stannis' side anymore, but I hope that the murder of Shireen will be his tipping point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that you said the murder of Shireen instead of the sacrifices from Shireen, too, because it was a murder. It was murder. There was nothing just.
Melisandre believed it was sacrifice. I think that
Melisandre knows how to twist her words.
She really does.
Yeah, she doesn't make things sound like she could have like poison apple, and she'd be like, "But it's fruit. It's good for you."
Check it out. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Hey. Check it out. An apple a day keeps the Davos away.
Oh,
nailed it. So yeah, I'm really hoping that Davos finally, because in the books he does go on his own and he has his own adventure, and it's so good. Like, it's a great story. It's my favorite. Davos' chapters are my favorite in the books.
That's awesome.
And so that sort of thing. Sorry, the cats are fun. The cats are playing. That's like, they made me laugh. That's so nice. It's the first time I've laughed in a while. But yeah, I would love to see that story, or have Davos just sort of have his own story. I think that would be really important.
Yeah, same here.
Okay, cool. I think we're done with the Stannis stuff for now, because I'm super sad. Just like sad. I'm so sad. But now we're on to the theory of the week. Yay! I meant to do this one in regards to Hardhome, but since I didn't record a podcast for that episode, I'm doing it now. Yay! Last week we saw The Night's King. And oh my god, I am so excited. Winter isn't coming, y'all. Winter is here.
Oh!
Hey! But for many of you, the term Night's King probably doesn't... I decided to dedicate this week's theory to him and the legends surrounding him. So, let's talk about it. Carly, I know you know a little bit about this, so feel free to throw in your 2 cents whenever.
I will. Thank you, IO9.
You're welcome. I'm saying you're welcome for it.
I was like,
obviously.
Are you IO9?
I'm IO9.
Oh my god.
No, so according to legends, the Night's King existed during the Age of Heroes, which started when the treaty between the First Men and the Children of the Forest was agreed upon. This was also when the Wall was built, just in case you were wondering. Okay, so as it happened, the Night's King was actually named the 13th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. But when he fell in love with a woman and slept with her, apparently he gave her his soul as well. This woman, I should add, was said to have, and I quote, skin as white as the moon and eyes like blue stars. Sound familiar? Mm-hmm. When he returned to the castle of Nightfort, which was one of the many castles on the Wall at that point, now it's abandoned, he declared himself as king and the mysterious woman his queen. For 13 dark years, he ruled, and it was wrought with atrocities, and he was brought down only when Brandon the Breaker, the King of Winter, and Joramun, who was the king beyond the Wall at the time, came together to defeat him. It was only after his fall that they had discovered he had been making sacrifices to the White Walkers, and because of this, any record containing information about him was destroyed, hence why we call him only the Night's King and nothing else. Literally, his name was forbidden. No one could say it.
The Voldemort of Game of Thrones.
He was the Voldemort of Game of Thrones. In the books, old Nan tells Bran this story, and despite rumors that the Night's King was a Bolton, a Flint, or an Umber, she actually believes he was a Stark, and even hints at his name being Brandon. If this is the case, and this is where I got really excited, then I truly hope when Bran comes back in Season 6, it'll have something to do with his potential undead namesake. If the Night's King isn't killed, in the season finale.
Yeah.
Like, overall, for me, it's definitely one of the coolest legends in A Song of Ice and Fire, and there are tons of question marks as to how the Night's King survived this long. But hey, what with Game of Thrones taking a fantasy turn, which they definitely have, I'm sure we're going to learn all the answers to our question. questions. Overall, the history of Westeros is some of the coolest stuff I've ever read, and Carly, I am so excited for you to continue reading the series so that we can geek out together.
Yes.
But that's really it. That's all we know about the Night's King.
Yeah.
But I think it's more like this. I guess it was a theory, but it's more of a legend than anything else. I still wanted to throw it in there. I don't know if you have anything else to say about it. If you do, throw it at me.
Yeah. I don't know if. I don't know if you said this before or not, but when the 13th Commander and his White Walker lady, the other lady,
and the other,
kind of did their thing or whatever, and he got the worst STD possible, which is evil.
Yeah.
I guess he used that. This is what I read on IO9, so this is very limited information. I read it at the Apple Store while I was waiting for them to fix my phone. It's one of those.
Thanks, Apple.
Thanks a lot, Apple. This episode brought to you by. But apparently he was kind of enchanted by her and enchanted the rest of the Night's Watch as well.
Oh.
That is what I kind of read.
I didn't know that.
Well, I'm hoping that I read that correctly.
He put a curse over them, you will obey me.
Or she did kind of. It was kind of like a middleman sort of thing. So, just enchants her. I just also want to know, he and a White Walker, man. I feel like
how would that
know.
be?
I don't know. I feel like if a zombie came up to me, I don't care how
want to do it?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, I'd do it.
I mean,
I want to experiment. I want to experience that.
Yeah, his skin is decaying, but he's hot, though.
The Night's King is hella cool looking. I'm not going to say hot.
Please don't.
I'm going to say he's really cool looking. They did a great job with that. And I am so excited to see what's going to happen there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
I also love the fact that, and this is also in the IO9 article, which I geeked out about, and I'm so excited for
I know, I saw your Facebook post.
Oh, yes, you did. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did.
Facebook friends.
Facebook.
It's pretty
yeah,
serious.
Facebook's amazing.
Facebook, what a time to be alive.
Good old social media.
Good old social media. But what was I even going to say?
I don't know.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
It's good. We don't.
Oh, it was so good, though. There was something, though. Oh, yes, okay.
Oh, yeah, she goes. She got it, you guys. She got it.
We're good.
Right,
we can cut all that out. All 5
We're not
minutes
even gonna.
Oh, great. Good.
I'm in charge of this podcast.
Damn it. I really love how fantasy heavy this season has been. Because, yes. And I mentioned this a little bit before, and we were kind of talking about it with, the first dragons in probably centuries.
Thousands of years.
A long-ass time.
A long-ass
time. First dragons coming back in a while. And this is really, again, basing this off of the IO9 article as well, that can help me out with this. But, I mean, it's really the first time in such a long time where this fantasy realm that most of the world thought was kind of dead is suddenly
showed up.
Yep. They don't showed up.
They don't. Even in last season with Bran and the Child of the Forest.
Exactly.
Bran was definitely the most fantasy heavy.
Yes.
And now we're seeing Jon as the most fantasy heavy. And I'm really excited. I was so bummed when they said that Bran wasn't going to be in this season. And so I'm so excited, even though we're going to have to wait a year. I am so excited to see what's going to happen with Bran. Oh my god. So to have, the Night's King show up and to have it be Jon that sees him.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So awesome.
And also that battle.
That battle, though, you guys. Oh my god.
I didn't breathe.
I am attracted to that battle.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
it was an arousing battle.
It was indeed, and oh my god, I really liked it too because it was one of those scenes. The season could have ended on that scene.
Yeah, absolutely,
and it would have been completely
a great
satisfying.
season.
Great season because
didn't need the next episode at all.
Nuh-uh, didn't happen. Oh my god, it was all just a dream.
It was a dream. There you
go.
Okay, that was good. That was a good theory. That was a good time spent on that. Now it's time for the showdown, and I'm doing things slightly differently this time around because instead of talking about something that's happened already in the books, we're going to go with something that will happen. Carly, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about because I already mentioned it. But let's just lay it all out there. So after Shireen's brutal murder it was murder.
Yes.
People were pissed. Obviously. Well, George R. R. Martin came in all of his glory and said that what happens to her is going to happen in the book series as well. This got people even more angry, but let me say this. Had you read book 5, you would know that Stannis and Shireen are nowhere near each other. So if she is sacrificed, it won't be her father giving the green light. He leaves his family at Castle Black when he goes to march on Winterfell, which, yeah, that's a smart move, obviously. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what I thought he was going to do, and then when they left, I was like, red flag, red flag, red flag.
Yeah.
So, context is everything, people. The Stannis I know, the Stannis I've read, he would never allow his daughter to be murdered in cold blood. My guess is that in the books, it's Selyse who allows the sacrifice to go down, because she is straight up crazy. I don't care what they did in the show. So yes, Shireen will burn, but there is no way Stannis is going to have a hand in it. After all, the only reason he's really going to war is to get the Iron Throne for his daughter. Mm-hmm. Do I really need to read that passage again? Is it necessary? No, it's not. It's not necessary. Just read the books and you'll see where I'm coming. But Carly, what do you think of that?
Yes. I mean, I think it's one of those things, I think I said it before too, it's one of those things where regardless of whether or not it's going to happen in the books, it was a poor character choice.
Yep.
The way that they made it happen was just, it didn't make sense. It didn't work out. And they're doing a lot of things this season that do happen in the books or will happen in the books that they're bringing in at kind of at a new time and kind of meshing with. So, like, you know, for example, Sansa and Ramsay, like that was fake Arya. It wasn't Sansa.
Yeah.
But and I know you didn't love that. You thought it was like kind of lazy storytelling, which I don't disagree with at all. But I think it's kind of a cool, I don't know, I think it's kind of cool that they're meshing the books and the show in that way.
You mean the Sansa and Jane Poole mixing?
Yes, yeah, yes, that is what I meant.
There you go. We got there.
It's happening. I didn't read the books. You know this. You're the expert.
Sometimes.
If sometimes is all the time.
Hey.
60% of the time, it's all the time.
All the time. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I think whatever happens to her in the books is still going to be better than what happened in the show.
I agree.
Yeah.
I obviously, we don't know, and we could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
He could ride to the Castle Black and be like, burn my daughter, and then leave. For all we know, that could happen. But where I am in the books is not there. That's not what I believe would happen at all. Okay. So, as for the beard rating, well, I struggled. Because while Shireen's death was possibly the most haunting thing since the Red Wedding, to me it served no purpose. The Red God's power is questionable at best. The leech for Greylon Greyjoy. For Balon Greyjoy, the leech for Greylon. Oh my god.
Balon Greyjoy does sound like a mix-up.
It does. Okay,
it doesn't sound right.
The leech for Balon Greyjoy is still taking its sweet time, and while the demon child did kill Renly, there was no blood sacrifice required. But this episode did have Drogon, and that's a plus. Therefore, I'm giving it the ranking of... Are you ready for this?
Oh my god.
Unless you want to go first.
No, you go.
No, okay.
I'm curious.
I'm going to give it the ranking of Hizdar Zolorak. May he rest in peace. There's not really a reason behind it, honestly. Like, I can't quite think straight enough to give reasons, but given the fact that Hizdar was brutally stabbed, I feel like he deserves the honor of a rating. I don't... He didn't really serve a purpose this season, so maybe that's sort of where I find, like... that's where I see the rating coming in. I don't know. Carly, what do you think?
You know what? I'm gonna give this episode a Stannis beard of the episode because it's a fabulous beard, but it's attached to Stannis, who now sucks.
Oh.
So that is where I'm coming from, I think. It was one of those things where there were some really, really great parts, and it was like, oh, this is awesome. But then it was like, no, Stannis, you suck. So
That's fair.
I think it has. Yeah,
That's
what
fair.
I'm gonna give it. I'm sorry.
I just couldn't give it a
Stannis.
Stannis. Yeah, you did. It's okay. It's okay. Because
He deserves
as far
it.
as I'm concerned, the Stannis in the show is not my Stannis anymore. Okay, guys. So that's it for this week's episode. We got through it. It was a rough one. Really rough.
I do have one thing to add.
Yo, tell me.
Yeah, that we talked about before, and I think we should bring it up.
Let's do it.
Ways you can sacrifice someone with king's blood by not killing them brutally.
Leeching them!
A, leeching. B, keeping them as a blood slave and occasionally cutting them for a little blood. Which
At
is
least
horrifying.
Shireen would still be alive.
At least she'd still be alive. It'd be great. And then my question too: Does Grace? I just bit my tongue when I said that. It's a stupid question. Does grayscale affect the blood at all? I just want to know that because I kind of hope that.
I have no idea.
It probably doesn't. But
It probably doesn't. Because it's just her face that has it.
I guess.
Oh my god, I'm just so upset that we'll never
It's
see her again.
I just don't think that they could have. They could
They could have done so much more.
He could have. If she had died, he could have stabbed her humanely.
Humanely. No, her death was the most inhumane way a
was the
child
worst.
could have gone.
Anyone. Okay, beginning of the season, the one guy whose name I'm forgetting, Jon Snow, shot an arrow through his heart because he didn't want to see him die.
Man's greater.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Like-
oh my god, you're right.
Full circle. In the worst way possible.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
oh my
It's a bad way
god.
to end it. I'm so sorry.
I'm like,
Oh god, I broke her.
oh god. You broke me. Okay, let me just
cut the
read my notes. Let's just get through this. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna go back again and say that is it for this week's episode. After Carly broke me, it was so difficult for me to talk about Stannis. Like it really is. And I think I need to pour one out for myself. Just for getting through that, and pour it out for Carly because she was there with me. I honestly wasn't sure I was gonna be able to get through this episode. Like, I texted you while I was writing up this outline, and I was saying, like, I can't do it. Like, this is so hard. Like, this is a man I'm full support of. I mean, literally, like, I will run screaming for the hills, Stannis Baratheon. Swiggity swag, I'm a stag. Like, like, I am so upset. And, like, I haven't been this shaken up in a while, and I'm sure you're in the same boat, right?
Yeah, it was to the point where it was almost hard to react to it while it was happening because it was so horrific. But the next day on the train, I literally just thought of what had happened, especially the lead up to it, and I literally felt nauseous.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's nauseating.
It's nauseating.
Really is.
And I'm not saying that in this show horrible things don't happen. I'm saying that this one had no purpose, and that made it even worse.
Absolutely.
So yeah, fun.
So, in terms of where my loyalties lie, I really don't know what my answer is, but I've tried to sort of shape one for you guys because I'm sure that's a question, in your mind, on whoever is listening, on their minds. Because, like I said, I mean, I have been a Stannis supporter.
Do tell.
So, as far as the books go, I'm still House Baratheon all the way. He has not done anything to point me in the wrong direction. He has not killed his daughter. In terms of the show, though, I really, really don't have an answer. Huh. Like, I think I still need time to sort of process everything. Like, I want to believe that Dany is going to be an incredible ruler, but I'm not ready to give up Stannis because I've been such a big fan of him for so long.
Stannis of Stannis.
Like, I'm a fan of Stannis. Like, maybe Sir Davos is going to show up and just, like, one-up everybody else, and he'll become king, and that would be, like, the best thing to happen for me. Like, that would be the most beautiful thing that could ever happen on this show, but I don't think that's going to happen, so I think I'm either going for Jon, which I'm nervous about. Don't want to put all my eggs in that basket, because, what if there's a coup and Jon dies? Like, that's a possibility. So at this point, I'm sort of just wandering about. I don't have anybody to support. I don't know what to do. Like, I support Davos.
Team
That's
Davos.
all I got. I'm Team Davos all the way. Okay, so Carly, how can the listeners find you?
The listeners can find me. I'm the female and the nerd writer on the630.com, spelled out the 630. I'm also on Twitter. My handle. I think that's what it's called. I'm old.
Twitter handle. That's good. You're not that old.
I just turned 24. My back hurts all the time. It's at Chillin5, which is CHILLYN 5.
5 the number.
Yes, exactly.
Not typed out 5.
There you go.
5 the number.
5 the number.
Yeah. And as always, you can follow me on Twitter at YouGotGotPod. And if you have any burning questions, shoot me an email at YouGotGotPodcast@gmail.com. My personal Twitter is Sophia M. Porter, and lately I've been lamenting really hard. So that's what you guys have to look forward to if you follow me. Stannis is still like my background on Twitter, and I have to change it at some point, but it's a really nice picture of Stannis in the front and Davos and Melisandre in the back, and Melisandre has devil ears and Stannis has angel wings.
Oh, see, that's
and it's like
awesome.
It's a really good one. It's been mine for like a really long time.
Symbolism.
I know it was a tough episode this week. I mean, mostly for me, I think, just like sort of talking out all my feelings. I still think I have so much more to say. Like I'll always have more to say about this. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you, Carly, for being here and for being supportive of me and of talking me through this. I really do hope that next week will be better. But who knows at this point? No one knows. I watched the promo and I was not excited. So, because Stannis was in it, and I was like, I can't deal with that right now.
Yeah.
But until then, everybody, and remember, the night is dark, but full of Davos.